The 1990s gave us some of cinema's most lawless partnerships, duos who blurred the lines between love and violence, justice and corruption, sanity and madness. These movies were built around pairs who pushed every boundary, sparked massive controversies, and in some cases, changed Hollywood forever. Bruce Willis stars as Joe Hallenbeck, a burned-out private detective with a razor-sharp tongue and nothing left to lose, opposite Damon Wayans as Jimmy Dix, a disgraced quarterback whose career ended in scandal. A murder throws them together, and their chemistry is pure combustion. Two guys who can't stand each other trading insults while bullets fly and buildings explode around them. Shane Black wrote the script and sold it for $1.75 million, setting a record for spec screenplays at the time. His dialogue crackles with the same dark wit that made Lethal Weapon iconic, and director Tony Scott delivers the action with a stylish intensity. The production was notoriously chaotic, with clashes between Scott and producer Joel Silver, but little of that turbulence shows on screen. What audiences got was a hard-edged, quotable action thriller that earned over $114 million worldwide, proving that sometimes the messiest productions can still salvage decent movies. One of the most controversial films ever released by a major studio, Natural Born Killers sparked outrage before audiences even saw it. Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis play Mickey and Mallory Knox, two lovers bound together by trauma and violence, who embark on a killing spree across the American Southwest. But Oliver Stone isn't just telling a crime story. He's crafting a savage satire of a culture that turns murderers into celebrities, where the media feeds on bloodshed and the public devours every gruesome detail. Mickey and Mallory aren't hiding from the spotlight, they're performing for it, and the world can't look away. Stone shoots their rampage like a fever dream, mixing film stocks, animation, and sitcom parody to create something that feels genuinely insane. With supporting performances from Robert Downey Jr. as a sleazy tabloid journalist, Tommy Lee Jones as a fame-hungry warden, and Rodney Dangerfield in a disturbing turn as Mallory's abusive father, the cast commits fully to Stone's nightmare vision, which makes the film impossible to shake. A lonely hitman who waters his houseplant like it's his only friend, a 12-year-old girl who just lost everything and has nowhere else to turn. When Matilda knocks on Léon's door after her family is murdered by corrupt DEA agents, she enters the life of a man who kills for a living, but has no idea how to connect with another human being. Natalie Portman makes her film debut as Matilda, a kid hardened by circumstances but still desperate for something resembling family. Jean Reno plays Léon as emotionally stunted and childlike, a deliberate choice to keep their bond paternal rather than anything else. Together they form an unlikely partnership where she teaches him to read and he teaches her to handle a rifle. Gary Oldman tears through every scene as the unhinged DEA agent hunting them down, and his iconic delivery of the word "Everyone!" was completely improvised to make director Luc Besson laugh, and Besson kept it. Portman herself has acknowledged the film's complicated legacy, calling some aspects cringy, to say the least, when viewed today. But the film remains a beautifully made thriller that many viewers now watch through an entirely different lens. A comic book store clerk obsessed with Elvis meets a call girl on what seems like a chance encounter, and within days they're married and madly in love. But when Clarence decides to confront Alabama's pimp to free her from her past, played by Gary Oldman in yet another maniacal role,
I know I'm pretty.
he accidentally walks away with a suitcase full of cocaine belonging to the mob, and suddenly, this love-struck couple becomes the target of every gangster in Los Angeles. Quentin Tarantino wrote the script, and director Tony Scott turned it into a stylish, violent fairy tale where love makes you brave and stupid in equal measure. Clarence and Alabama aren't criminals by nature. They're romantics who stumble into a world of killers and somehow refuse to let go of each other. Christian Slater brings a nerdy sweetness to Clarence that makes his bursts of violence feel shocking, while Patricia Arquette gives Alabama a fierce tenderness that anchors the whole movie. Together, they're electric, two people who found each other at exactly the wrong moment and decided that being together was worth whatever came next. This cat-and-mouse thriller pits two cops against each other. Richard Gere plays Dennis Peck, a charismatic officer hiding a web of corruption, while Andy Garcia portrays Raymond Avila, the internal affairs investigator determined to bring him down. The on-screen tension between Gere and Garcia came from genuine animosity. The two actors reportedly did not get along during filming, and some of their confrontation scenes, particularly the elevator fight, involved real hits that left real wounds. Garcia apparently refused to attend the rap party, but that friction only gave the film extra clout. Director Mike Figgis used the film as his entry point into Hollywood, eventually earning Academy Award nominations for Leaving Las Vegas. Critics responded well, and it revived Gere's career after being in a small commercial slump, but that would come to pass with the release of Pretty Woman a few months later. But in this case, the great on-screen chemistry came from two actors who genuinely couldn't stand each other. Based on a real case that shocked New Zealand in 1954, Heavenly Creatures tells the story of Pauline Parker and Juliette Hume, two teenage girls whose intense friendship becomes something far darker than anyone around them realizes. Kate Winslet and Melanie Lynskey deliver performances that capture both the intoxicating joy of their connection and the creeping dread of where it's all heading. Pauline is withdrawn and sullen, trapped in a working-class family she despises. Juliette is glamorous and imaginative, a British transplant with wealthy parents. When they find each other, they create an elaborate fantasy world, complete with its own mythology, a private universe where only the two of them exist. Their bond grows so consuming that reality starts to feel like an intrusion, and anyone who threatens to separate them becomes an enemy. Peter Jackson directed and co-wrote the screenplay with Fran Walsh, earning them an Academy Award nomination. What makes the film especially haunting is that all the voiceover narration comes directly from Pauline's actual diary entries, giving us an unsettling window into a mind slowly untethering from the world around it.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
And this is how I met
Tyler Durden.
Hit me in the ear!
An insomniac office drone, numbed by IKEA catalogs and support groups, meets Tyler Durden on an airplane, and nothing is ever the same. Edward Norton plays the unnamed narrator, a man so disconnected from his own life that he can't even sleep in it, and Brad Pitt is Tyler, the charismatic anarchist who offers him a way out through pain. What starts as bare-knuckle fights in parking lots evolves into an underground movement that spreads like a virus. David Fincher builds a world that feels suffocating and seductive at the same time, where destroying something beautiful becomes the only way to feel alive. Norton and Pitt play off each other brilliantly, one repressed and searching, the other liberated and reckless. Their relationship forms the dark heart of the movie, a twisted friendship that keeps pulling the narrator deeper into chaos, while the audience wonders how far he's willing to go. The film disappointed at the box office, but the DVD changed everything, turning Fight Club into a defining cult movie of its generation. It tapped into a growing frustration with consumer culture that people were already feeling but couldn't articulate. Based on Hunter S. Thompson's legendary autobiographical novel, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas follows journalist Raoul Duke and his attorney Dr. Gonzo as they descend on Las Vegas in 1971, armed with a suitcase full of drugs, ostensibly covering a motorcycle race. What follows is a hallucinogenic odyssey into the death of the American dream. Johnny Depp disappears completely into Duke, channeling Thompson's manic energy and paranoid brilliance, while Benicio del Toro transforms himself into Gonzo, gaining 45 pounds for the role by eating over a dozen donuts a day. Director Terry Gilliam shoots their Bender like a waking nightmare, the walls breathing, the carpet crawling, and reality melting at the edges. What starts as reckless fun quickly devolves into chaos as the drugs take hold, and the duo spirals deeper into paranoia and self-destruction. Vegas becomes a fever dream they can't wake up from, and you're trapped in the hotel with them. The film earned only $11 million, but box office numbers can't measure what Depp and Del Toro achieved here. Two men chasing a high, while burning through Vegas like ghosts, haunting their own terrible decisions. Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon star as two friends who set out on a weekend road trip that spirals into something more than they bargained for. What begins as an escape from their ordinary lives turns into a desperate flight from the law after a violent encounter at a roadside bar that changes everything. These are just two ordinary women pushed past their breaking point who discover they'd rather keep running than face a system they no longer trust. Their bond deepens with every mile as the stakes climb higher, and Ridley Scott directs their journey toward one of the decade's most unforgettable endings. Callie Khouri wrote the screenplay as her debut and won the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. Both Davis and Sarandon received Best Actress nominations, marking the first time two women earned nominations in that category for the same film. What makes this duo unforgettable is that they had everything to lose and nothing left to protect except each other, and that combination made them dangerous in ways neither of them saw coming. A veteran detective counting down his final days before retirement gets paired with a young hothead eager to prove himself, and their first case together is a nightmare. Morgan Freeman plays Somerset, weary and methodical, a man who's seen too much and wants out. Brad Pitt plays Mills, an impatient and idealistic rookie, convinced that passion alone can crack any case. Together, they hunt a serial killer who's using the 7 deadly sins as his template, staging elaborate crime scenes that feel more like twisted art installations than murders. Each body is a message, each death a sermon, and the killer is always several steps ahead. David Fincher drenches every frame in rain and shadow, creating a nameless city that feels like it's rotting from the inside. What makes this duo unforgettable is how their philosophies collide. Somerset believes the world is too broken to save, while Mills refuses to accept that darkness wins. Their arguments give the film its soul, two men wrestling with the same evil from opposite ends of hope.